Hey, Mama, wouldn't you like to pause from your busy day and listen in to experts and homeschool parents like you about the beautiful world of homeschooling? This new podcast is designed for you. Each episode connects you to the best conversations that will give you courage and fill your cup so you can keep pouring into your family every single day. Introducing the Hey Mama Homeschool Show, brought to you by the Old Schoolhouse, your trusted homeschool partner for over 20 years.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Hey Mama Homeschool Show. I'm Christine and I'll be your host this week. Just to introduce myself, I am a homeschool mom of two boys who are 10 and 6 right now. I also have the privilege of working for the Canadian Schoolhouse and schoolhouseteachers.com, and they are both divisions of the Old Schoolhouse. So let me introduce our topic this week. We're going to be talking about non-readers and non-writers. What to do? I'm going to attempt to help you answer those questions. So what do we do? What I'd like to share with you today is that we should try to foster a love of reading and writing. So let me first start with reading. The best way to encourage this love for reading is to create the right atmosphere. The first thing we can do is have books everywhere. I admit that I love reading, and I probably have too many books. And I'm sure a lot of you out there are in the same boat, and you probably don't have enough shelves for all the books that you own. But you know what it's like to get lost in a good book. And this is something that we want to show our children, that reading is fun and that we enjoy it ourselves. So when they see how books are important to us, they'll see the books all around the house. They'll see it on the bookshelves, on the coffee tables, and maybe if you've set up a reading nook where you like to get away and dive into your books, well, this is something you can create for your children. You can create a reading corner, or maybe there's a section in a room that you can set aside for reading as a family. Another thing you can do is have baskets. I do this one with my kids. They each have a basket beside their bed filled with their favorite books or books they're currently reading, and they grab those books at any time of the day, really, but they mostly like to read at bedtime. And I know many homeschooling families have morning baskets. And if you're not too familiar with this concept, these are baskets that are filled with books. And when the kids wake up each day after breakfast, they go grab a book from their morning basket and sit and read for a bit. And this helps set the tone for the day. It helps them to get in the right frame of mind for a day of learning. So maybe this is an idea for you if you're not already doing it. So another thing we can do is schedule reading times. Now, you don't want to be rigid with this, but it could be a fun time like afternoon tea, or maybe you have afternoon snack time and you can all come together and read. Or maybe you schedule some quiet time, because let's face it, mamas, we all need some quiet time from time to time. But reading together is another great way to foster a love of reading. Reading aloud is a popular activity among homeschoolers. And when you do this, you're creating family bonding time. And this is something that I look forward to. So maybe it's the afternoon tea or bedtime, but during family reading time, this is your opportunity to share your love for reading with your family. And you're also creating memories while they get to enjoy reading if you're taking turns, or they're enjoying just listening to you read. And hey, if you can do voices, do them. It makes it so much more fun. And after reading, you can sit and have conversations. This encourages them to engage with you. They can now share what they've heard or read with you. They can ask questions and share their thoughts. This could be just for fun, or it could be part of your curriculum. So, for example, you could have chosen to read a history book together, or maybe it's a science book, or maybe you've chosen a special subject for an elective and you're just doing it together as a family. Like maybe you're learning about a new culture or a tradition, or maybe you're learning a new language. I mean, the skies are the limit, really, when it comes to books. There's so many subjects out there. And don't be discouraged if you don't have an extensive library in your home. That's okay. But definitely take advantage of your local library. The good thing about libraries is that one, you're going to save money on books, because I'll tell you, I probably spend way too much money on books sometimes. And two, you'll be able to explore different subjects, different characters, genres of books that you may not discover in your own home. Now, if your kids just aren't grasping the whole holding a book in their hand type of thing, you can also try audiobooks. Now, I personally don't enjoy audiobooks because I do love holding that tangible book in my hand. But some people aren't wired that way, and that's okay. Some learn better by listening, and audiobooks can help, especially when they can still see the words in front of them while they're listening. So your child will still be able to learn words this way, and they'll still be able to engage afterwards. So they'll still be learning. One of the fun ways that I like to encourage my kids to read books is finding books that have also been turned into a movie. We love movies at our house, and it's a great motivator to know that at the end of a series, or maybe it's just a really large book, that we can celebrate at the end with a movie and popcorn and watch our book come to life. And if you've got little ones who may not be ready to read yet, don't let them miss out. Still let them know that you are a family who likes to read. Surround them with books that have lots of pictures. And I'll tell you, my 4-year-old at the time was obsessed with dinosaurs. And so I bought him a National Geographic encyclopedia on dinosaurs. It was an investment because, I mean, let's face it, I couldn't even say half of those dinosaur names in there. And for sure, he couldn't at that time. But he would spend hours just pouring through those pages and soaking in the graphics. And then eventually he started asking, well, how do you say this name? Or what does this word say? And now he can tell me the names of the dinosaurs, and I still can't even pronounce half of them. And he loves going back to read it over and over because each time he understands more and more. He's learned new words, and so he can grasp more about what the book is telling him about dinosaurs, and his vocabulary keeps growing. Now, I wanted to share with you an interview that we did at the Canadian Schoolhouse, and I actually interviewed Kristen Stewart, and she also works at the Canadian Schoolhouse, and our topic was developing a culture of reading in your home. And we'll get you a link for you to watch that in the show notes. But in the interview, she discusses some of these points and others that she uses with her children. So I definitely want to encourage you to check that interview out. And I know you'll be encouraged by that. And we'll also include a link to her article on the same topic called Create a Culture of Reading. And yeah, you're going to love the ideas she's got in there. Another thing I would recommend is looking for tools to help you encourage reading. Sometimes you just have to look outside the book. For both my boys, we used an app called Reading Eggs when they were just getting started. Now, there are lots of apps that are similar to this one, but this is the one that we chose. And it was a fun way to introduce reading to my boys. You know, it started out with the letter sounds, then they moved on to words, then how to form sentences. And the great thing was this program had activity sheets and coloring sheets to complement the lessons. So it was a fun program, and it really gave them a good foundation getting started. So I'll share this story with you. I had a friend whose son was struggling with reading, and so I had recommended this app to help, and she was overjoyed that in just a short time he got excited about learning to read. And one of the good things of the app was that it tracked your progress and gave you rewards. So this is what encouraged him to keep plugging in at it. And because the app was fun and engaging, he just was excited. He got excited about learning. And I'll tell you, this mama friend of mine was so discouraged before. And, if you're in the same boat, I'll tell you the same thing I told her. I mean, every child's learning journey is different. You can't compare to others and think, oh, my child is failing. My child hasn't read and he's already 6. I mean, just be encouraged. Every child's journey is unique in learning to read or write, for that matter. So don't be discouraged and keep trying. Don't be afraid to think outside the box and try new things. I mean, my friend had tried so many different kinds of curriculums and different kinds of books, and nothing seemed to work. And so she was willing to give this app a try. So if you've got a struggling reader, there are courses out there and other resources like this app and more. And the list of resources are growing out there. So keep trying until something sticks. And another important point to note here is you have to do what's interesting to them, because they'll lean into it if they like it. If they are interested in dinosaurs, like I mentioned earlier, get them all the dino books. The more they read, the more things they'll want to discover. Then all of a sudden, you'll find out that they're reading faster than you thought they could. And you'll wonder, well, when did this happen? So keep on pushing through. Now let's move on to the non-writers. And I can relate more to this one because every time I ask my boys to write something, I either get really short answers or one-word answers. And I get frustrated because, I've shown them, this is how you answer. You take part of the question and you use it in your answer. You have to be specific. So when you're rereading your answers, you know what you're answering. And still, I got one-word answers because it's just too much. They think writing all the words is too much work. And I'm sure some of you mamas know all about this. So it's not just me, and it's not just you. But maybe we need to remind them why it's important to write. So here's some of the things we can tell them. We can say that writing challenges our minds to think deeper and to show our understanding of the new things that we learn. Another thing we can say is that maybe you might have a talent for writing. And here's where you can try to discover your writing style. Get to know all the different kinds of writing styles out there, because maybe they're good at writing comics, or maybe they're good at poetry. But if they don't explore the different types of writing, they might try their hand at one particular style and say, well, okay, I'm not good at writing. Writing's not for me. I don't like it. But this is not the end of the story. They just haven't found the style that works for them. And if they do find a style that they like, this could lead to a future career. And that leads me to my next point of building a portfolio. By writing often, you could be creating a portfolio that you can take with you into a field of work. And here are some examples that you can get involved in right now. If you've got teen writers in your home, the Canadian Schoolhouse as well as schoolhouseteachers.com have opportunities for your teens to come on and write some articles. So I encourage you to go check them out. You can go to either the canadianschoolhouse.com or schoolhouseteachers.com and just look for the writing opportunities. And I'll make sure the direct links get in the show notes for you if you are really interested. But I encourage you to check those out and get them writing. Look for opportunities. Look for writing contests out there because every opportunity you can add this to your repertoire. So let me give you some more tips for writing that I've used with my kids. The biggest one that I found that helped was to give prompts. So now I'll tell you that one of my boys will look at a blank piece of paper and be completely overwhelmed. And all I've asked him to do is write a paragraph. And so we may think, okay, it's not a big deal. Just write your thoughts down. It's no big thing. But sometimes they need to break it down. And we can help with that. So we give prompts, we ask questions and get them talking about it because then they'll realize that, oh, wait a minute, I actually do know what to say. I do have the answers and I know what I need to write, but they just need to write it one step at a time. And yet that may take a few extra steps on our end, but that's okay because we're learning and we're teaching them. And if you've got younger ones, start with the small assignments. So maybe they got to start with 1 or 2 sentences. Then when they've got that down, you tack on another sentence and then you grow gradually in length. And then before you know it, hopefully, they're writing a page without even thinking about it. So again, I'll hit that point home that, we do have to make the topics interesting for them. So, you've got your regular copy work assignments, just make sure that it's on something that they enjoy because you'll find that they're going to want to write more on something that they love talking about. Because I can tell you, my kids can talk for hours on certain topics. So I try to tell them, you know what, can you just write all that down because I didn't catch all that? And they're happy to because they want to share. They're so excited about what they're talking about. So definitely do that with your kids. Get them to talk about, whatever their interests are in right now. And that changes. So you have to go with the flow sometimes, but definitely keep it interesting. And another point that I have is to make it a fun activity. So I mentioned before, maybe they could be good at writing comics. Maybe they're good at short stories. Make this into something where they can actually create something out of it. You can even publish their work for them. So I've done that. My son has written a few short stories and we just hop on the internet, grab a cute little graphic and make a nice little cover page. And then we print it out like a book style. And then he's got something to show family and friends when they come over and say, hey, look, here, you want to read my story? And he's so proud of, this project that he's worked on. And I mean, hey, you can even take it a step further by publishing through Amazon. You can do that for free. And, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate because it's a children's book. It'll give them a project to work towards, and they'll feel proud of their work when they see it published. And, hey, you can sell their stories for $1, $2, and that'll be an incentive for them to work towards. And these are just ideas, of course. And, we live in an age of technology. Why not start a blog? I mean, maybe some of you have a family blog or a mom blog, and your kids could just take part in it by contributing to maybe a kids section, about a topic of interest. So keep trying different things because eventually, as I said, something will stick. And I know, believe me, I know it gets frustrating for both you and your child, but don't give up. It's a skill that they need to have. I mean, reading and writing go hand in hand. We write about what we read and what we learn. And I mentioned that, we live in the age of technology and it dominates our children's minds. And nothing against technology, as it does bring inspiration from some of the things we see on TV or in movies or even in some of the games that they play. Visually, some of it's good. It just inspires you sometimes, but it also takes away from their own imagination. And we want to protect the creativity that God has blessed us with. So we want to focus on nurturing imagination. And we can do that through reading and writing. So, Mama, don't be discouraged on the journey you are on, whether you are just getting started or you've been at this for a while. I hope that you have found some helpful tips in this episode, and we've got so much more for you included in our show notes. So you can visit heymamahomeschoolshow.com for all the notes and additional resources for every episode. And I'll just let you know that a new episode will be released every Monday. So stay tuned for these upcoming episodes of the Hey Mama Homeschool Show. We've got Surviving Winter Depression, STEM and Science Fairs, and Teen Rebels and Prodigals. And whatever platform you're listening on, don't forget to subscribe.